Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. I am so glad you're tuning in today because honestly, we're diving into something that literally affects every single one of us. Today, we are peeling back the layers to reveal the absolute truth of global internet surveillance. We're going to look at the raw architecture of how it all works, and in the process, we're going to completely shatter some very comforting myths. So get ready, because the digital world you think you know, it's about to look a whole lot different.
So, let me ask you something right out of the gate. When you open up a shiny new incognito window, or when you toggle on your favorite VPN, or even just spot that little padlock icon in your browser bar, do you feel secure? Do you feel like you're completely invisible online, wrapped up in this impenetrable digital cloak? Most of us do, right? It feels safe. But what if I told you that feeling is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of how the internet actually operates?
Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but no. Those tools do not make you invisible. At all. And here is the hard truth. Intelligence agencies do not actually need to hack your personal computer. They don't need to guess your passwords, and they definitely don't have to break into your house. Why? Because the internet itself is the surveillance system. The network was inherently built in a way that makes it completely, totally observable.
Section 1. Truth of Internet Surveillance. The core is centralized. You know, we all kind of picture the internet as this big, fluffy, decentralized cloud, right? Like data just magically floats around in the ether. But the physical reality is actually highly centralized. The vast majority of global traffic doesn't take a million different random paths. It gets funneled into a surprisingly small number of massive physical choke points. We're talking about submarine optical cables crossing the oceans, huge internet service providers, centralized internet exchanges, giant cloud platforms like Google and Amazon, and crucial DNS and CDN nodes. If an intelligence agency wants to observe a massive chunk of global traffic, they don't need to bug billions of homes. They just need access to a few of these key nodes. To put that into perspective, just think about this number. Over 95% of all international internet traffic flows through physical submarine optical cables. 95%. Every website you visit that's hosted overseas, every international video call, your synced cloud files, financial transactions, and yes, even your heavily encrypted VPN traffic, it all eventually gets squeezed into these physical fiber optic tubes sitting right at the bottom of the ocean.
So how exactly do you monitor a fiber optic cable? It's not like a police roadblock where traffic gets stopped and searched. Instead, agencies use a tiny piece of hardware called an optical splitter. It taps right into the cable and literally splits the beam of light that's carrying your data. One copy of that light signal continues perfectly normally to its intended destination. The other exact copy, it's shunted right into surveillance equipment. Your data is simply duplicated at the speed of light. You wouldn't experience any lag, no glitches. You would literally never know it happened.
Section 2. Blind spots of encryption, the letter versus the envelope. Now you're probably thinking, okay, but my data is encrypted with HTTPS. Even if they copy it, it's just gibberish, right? Well, let's talk about the critical difference between a letter and an envelope. HTTPS encryption is a fantastic tool for protecting the content of your message. It seals the letter securely so no one can read the actual words you wrote. But a letter still needs an envelope to be delivered by the post office, doesn't it? That envelope is your metadata. And even with fully encrypted traffic, the envelope is completely exposed. Intelligence agencies can see the IP address you're connecting to, the exact time of the connection, how long you stayed connected, and the precise size of the data packets going back and forth. Honestly, most of the time, the envelope tells them everything they need to know without ever having to read the letter.
And it actually gets even more granular with a technique called TLS fingerprinting. Even though your connection is encrypted, different devices, different apps, and different browsers all behave in unique ways when they first set up that secure connection. They have a very specific order of cipher suites and extensions they use to basically say hello to a server. By simply analyzing that digital handshake, an observer can tell if you're using Chrome on a Mac, the Twitter app on an iPhone, or even if your device is secretly pinging known malware. They still don't see the underlying data, but they know exactly what software is generating it.
Then, there is a massive loophole staring us right in the face: DNS, the domain name system. Think of DNS as the internet's master phone book. When you type in google.com, your computer doesn't actually know where that server is. It has to ask the DNS system to translate that human-readable name into a machine-readable IP address. So, even if the website itself is securely encrypted, that initial request you make to the phone book asking for directions, that's almost always sent entirely in the clear. Anyone watching The Wire instantly knows exactly which websites you are actively browsing.
Section 3. Phones are ultimate trackers. You don't even need to make a call.
Let's move away from the cables and down to the hardware layer. Think about the phone sitting right next to you, or in your pocket right now. That device is incredibly chatty in the background. By design, just to ensure you don't drop a call, your phone is constantly searching for the nearest base stations. It's pinging cell towers, sending continuous signal updates, and automatically updating its location data with the telecom network. Because of how mobile networks are literally built to function, the telecom system inherently knows roughly where your phone, and by extension you, are at all times. It is essentially a permanent voluntary tracking beacon. And this necessary architecture is super easily exploited by devices known as IMSI catchers, though you've probably heard them called stingrays. These are localized surveillance devices that simply disguise themselves as a regular cell tower broadcasting a very strong signal. Because your phone is hardwired to always connect to the strongest tower it can find, it silently connects to the stingray automatically. Once it does, that device grabs your unique mobile identifier, your exact precise location, and in some cases, it can even force your phone to downgrade its encryption so your actual communications can be intercepted. Section 4. AI changes intelligence networks, processing the unthinkable.
Okay, so we've got optical splitters on sub-ocean cables, endless metadata from encrypted traffic, and phones constantly broadcasting location. That is a massive, unfathomable pile of data. In the past, trying to analyze all that global traffic was virtually impossible. It was just way too much noise. But this is exactly where AI steps in as the ultimate game changer. Collect everything first, find targets later. That right there is the core philosophy of modern mass surveillance. Agencies aren't sitting in a dark room manually staring at one specific suspect's web traffic anymore. They scoop up an entire ocean of global metadata, store it, and then unleash artificial intelligence retrospectively to find whatever or whoever they happen to be looking for.
So what does AI actually do with all this information? It completely automates the analysis. It constantly scans for anomalies in traffic flows. It perfectly matches complex behavioral patterns. But most impressively, it builds automated social graphs. By just crunching the metadata, literally just who is talking to whom, at what time, and for how long, AI can map out vast, intricate social networks across millions of users in seconds. It identifies key nodes and relationships that a human analyst would absolutely never spot. Section 5. Absolute anonymity doesn't exist. The limits of privacy tools.
And this brings us to a really harsh realization, one that completely challenges our reliance on everyday consumer privacy tools. The simple fact is this: absolute anonymity on the modern internet practically does not exist. You can use an encrypted DNS, you can route your traffic through a commercial VPN, you can use the most secure anonymous browser money can buy, but they cannot guarantee complete anonymity. Why? Because hiding your IP address isn't enough. You still leave a unique device fingerprint. You still have highly predictable, repetitive daily behavior patterns. Eventually, you are going to log into a cross-platform account or connect with your inevitable social circle online. We are all creatures of habit, and to an AI, those habits are glaringly recognizable data.
Section 6. The fatal flaw of data correlation, putting the puzzle together.
Here is where the trap really snaps shut. A single point of data, say a connection to a specific weather server at 2 p.m., might seem completely worthless on its own. But the fatal flaw in trying to hide is data correlation. When you take all those disparate, seemingly harmless single points of metadata and cross-reference them using AI, the results are honestly staggering. Suddenly, that correlated data reveals your daily life habits with striking accuracy. It exposes your deep friendship circles, your exact work schedule, your physical movement patterns throughout a city, your personal interests, and your most frequently visited locations. The metadata alone constructs a complete, unavoidably accurate mosaic of your entire life.
So if you only take away one single thing from this explainer today, please let it be this. The true power of modern intelligence agencies isn't a bunch of hackers sitting in a bunker brute-forcing passwords or mathematically breaking state-of-the-art encryption. It's so much simpler and honestly more elegant than that. It is simply using the internet's own natural architecture, the exact way it was designed to function, to analyze traffic. The system is operating exactly as intended. It is just being observed on a breathtaking global scale.
I want to leave you with a final, incredibly powerful thought to reflect on. The most powerful intelligence is simply knowing who is doing what. You really don't need to know the contents of the conversation if you know exactly who is meeting, where they're meeting, and how often. Metadata is the ultimate storyteller. So the next time you log on, maybe ask yourself, who is currently reading your story and what exactly are they doing with it? Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. I hope this explainer has given you a profound new lens through which to view your digital footprint. Stay curious, stay informed, and I will see you in the next explainer.